Welcome, my name is Matt, or DaBeast34, and today I'll be showing you how to make a logo using Affinity Photo. So I'll be showing this tutorial in Affinity Photo. You can either visit their website, which is in the description, and you can get a free trial there. You can also buy it there. Right now it's on sale until the 2018 for $40, and its usual cost is $50. And if you don't have Affinity Photo, you could try to use this tutorial using Photoshop. This would be a little harder since I'm showing this in Affinity Photo, but it is possible. And you can, of course, use any other editing software you have, but I recommend Affinity Photo. So let's get started. And so first off, when you're in Affinity Photo, you will want to create a new document. And the pixel width and height will be 500 by 500, or just any square. So the same height and the same width. And so I personally do 500 by 500, which is YouTube's logo size. So once you're inside of this screen here, you're going to want to decide what your background is going to be. So I recommend doing some sort of simple, like sunburst background or something. So in order to do this, open up Google. In Google, you can search something like sunburst background, or something like, it doesn't really matter what color, because we can recolor that after. So just search sunburst background or something like that, or you could do something like blue grunge background. And there's a lot of cool backgrounds to put. And it can be basically any size, but try to have it above 500 by 500 pixels. So that's above 500 by 500. I'll be using a blue sunburst. I'm not going to need to recolor this. I'll just use this one right here. We'll use. So once you find your image, you can right click and save image as. Save it to whatever folder you like. Now go back to Affinity Photo after you've saved the image and do Control O, which will open up a folder, and you can select what image you would like, which is the image we saved. So Control O, locate the folder, and just double click the file. So I actually found another one which was 500 by 500 pixels, which I'm going to copy using Control A, then Control C. And then in the top right, you can see this closed document X right here, so press X, and you do not need to save it. So once you have copied it using Control A, Control C, you want to paste your background using Control V. As you can see, this background is way too big, so you can just simply click this move tool. So that will make it so you can adjust the height and width of this. So do Control minus to zoom out, and now you can adjust it to whatever size you'd like. And if you mess up like I just did there, I accidentally turned it, I just did Control Z. And let's say you want to stretch the background, you hold Shift, and there you go, you can stretch it, but I'm just going to keep its proportions. So now, let's say your image is not centered, you want to go up to this top right area right here where it says Arrange. So click Arrange, and click the second image, which is, if you hold your mouse over it, it says Align Center. That aligns the horizontal to the center, and right below it, you can click Align Middle for the vertical. And now your image is totally centered. To make this background to look a little nicer, you can add a blur. And in order to do that, click the layer, go to Filters on the top bar, Blur, and Gaussian Blur. And you can do any amount you want. As you can see, it gets very blurry. Once we add in the logo, we can see if we need to adjust the blur, which I'll show you how to do later. So just for now, do like about 1 and apply. That looks good. So in order to change the color of your image, if needed, this is only if you want to change the color, you want to click the layer, go to the adjustments icon, which is this little circle down here. Click that and go to HSL, which is the third one on the top. And now you can change it to whatever color you would like. And so let's say you can just mess around and move these bars to see which color you like the best. And it changes it to almost any color you would need. So I don't need to change my color, so I'm just gonna X out of that and Control Z. Let's say you add a different layer that you don't need, like I just did. Right click and delete. So in order to add a circle for your logo, you want to go down to this rectangle icon, hit that bottom right triangle, left clicking. So left click it and select the donut tool, which will make the circle. If you want a solid circle as your background, you can use the ellipse tool. If you don't, then you can use the donut tool. So in order to keep the proportions of the donut or the circle, you just hold shift while left clicking, drag down, and set it to whatever size you would like. So I'm going to go let's go 400 for now. We can change it later. So once you have that, you can hold the orange dot here on the bottom left and drag it to the size and the thickness you would like the circle to be. So I'm going to do it about there. But as you can see, this is not the color you really want, so go to the top left and you can select the fill. I'm going to use a white color, just a pure white. Then you just click out of that and your circle is good. So hit the move tool again and you should be able to move the circle around. So let's center the circle again. So go to arrange, middle, arrange horizontally, and align middle. So now that the circle is centered, we can add some effects to it. If you would like to change the size of the circle, again, you just click on this, click on the circle, the donut layer, and you can adjust it. To adjust it with the same proportions, like I said before, hold shift and it adjusts. Make sure to center it with the range once you finish your adjustments. So now that we have the circle all finished, we can add some effects to it. Now go to the layer effects section with the layer selected. Click that and drag this a little to the side so you can see what you're actually doing. And you can add any effects here you would like. So I'm going to be going with an outline, black outline. You can mess around with all this stuff. Pretty self-explanatory what each thing does. Like this changes the radius of the outline. I'm going to have this at about a 4 pixel. If you can't get exact, just enter that, enter 4. And if you want to change it again, you can just change it like that. So I'm going to change it to 3. Once you have that set, you can change the circle even more, say like an outer shadow. And this one, you're going to have to mess around to see like what it actually does to notice the outer shadow. It's very faint, so you can change the opacity to see the circle a little bit more. So I'm just going to do 30, say 30 pixel. Offset will be 0, intensity just like a 20% probably. So you can change these values to whatever you want. I'm just putting random values in, which I think look good. So once you have all the stuff you need, drag this thing back and X out of it. And as you can see, that's a pretty nice looking circle. So now we will add the letter for your logo. So you can either add 2 letters or your whole entire name. I personally am just going to add 1 letter, the first name of my YouTube name, which is DaBeast34. So you can press T to go to the text shortcut, or you can go down to this bottom left here and hit the artistic text tool. So once you have this selected, you can select the font, 72 for now, the size, and doesn't matter, all these other options. So D, which we don't need. And as you can see, this is way too small. So let's just select that D and make it about 250. Enter. So now, as you can see, it's still small. So just keep on doing this. You can do that up there, or you can just simply drag that. So that's good enough. So now we will want to select the font. So I just made it big so we can see what we're changing. If you have the letter D or whatever letter it is really small, you can't see what it actually looks like. So now hit the font one and you can select any font. I'm going to go with the BN Machine font. So I'm going to leave the link for BN Machine in the description. And you can download fonts at TheFatRat.com, which is pretty good for downloading fonts. Click BN Machine or whatever font you like. Now highlight it again and change it to whatever color you want. I'm going to go with a white again. So now once that is white, we can select the move tool and turn it to about -5 or something. So now it doesn't really look good, that letter, so we want to make some more effects in the layer effects section. Let's add in something like a outline of about 3, and I'm going to go with a 3D. just to have it a little more depth. Or something similar to 3D is bevel. So now that our thing looks a little more 3D, we can add in some more effects like outer shadow. Check that. Always make sure to check the layer before you change it. So now we can change the radius, the offset, intensity. Just mess around with it. I always keep the offset at 0. And if this gets in your way, just drag this window, the layer effects window, out of the way. And you can of course select the blend mode, which changes what it looks like, and change the I don't know, like 37. That's a big drop shadow. This is just for example to show you what it would look like, the logo. And I'm also going to be adding a bevel in. So now that the bevel looks good, you can close this window, click out of that with the move tool, and your logo looks pretty good. You can make some final adjustments, maybe change that a little. So now that our logo is totally finished, we can just file and export. Select what type of file you would like. Just go with the JPEG, and 500. All this settings is fine. And hit export. Select the folder you would like it in. Name the file. Click save. So if you want to save this Affinity Photo file, if you want to edit it later, just click File, Save As, and name it something like First Logo, and save it to wherever you think is the easiest to access. And now, if you go to your folder where you saved it, you can double click that, and it will open up the same exact file with all the layers, and you can keep on editing it in the future. And last thing, if you would still like to edit the blur, just click on that layer, and you repeat filters, blur, Gaussian blur, and continue changing that. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and share it with your friends if they also want a awesome logo. And if you would like to make a free logo, I will leave the description for that. If you need any help with your logo, just comment down below in the description, and I will try to get back to you within a day. So that's it. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll see you guys next time.